Good evening. This is CTV News for Monday, May 12th. I'm Denise Douglas. So glad you could join us this evening. It's been a week since residents in a Fort Washington community were forced to evacuate their houses after a landslide. Crews are still working to try and fix that problem. But the big question continues to be, when will everyone be let back into their homes? By the end of the week, residents could have a better sense of when they might be able to get back into their houses.
We're still working with the community to help them with any of their needs. We have KCI, the geotech engineers, still drilling.
Ron Gill with the Office of Emergency Management explains that workers have been taking soil samples from the area on Piscataway Drive where the slope gave way. Geologists are trying to determine if there's enough solid ground to save the collapsing road and the homes on top of the crumbling ridge.
KCI believes that they should have some results or early results for us Friday or Saturday, but it's up to them to determine when.
Okay, and then that'll help you proceed in a permanent fix, or where does that put you if you start getting these results back?
Well, KCI then, after they get their analysis back, they'll be able to tell us if this is a short-term, medium, or long-range fix.
It's just not knowing what's going to happen next.
James Roy was among those evacuated when the landslide occurred.
Unfortunately, we've been staying with friends momentarily, and that's the current plan for now.
And you said two big questions on your mind with all of this are?
Yeah, two questions immediately. When will we be able to allow to go back into our homes, whether it's about foot traffic or if there's going to be a new access road built. Secondly would be the estimated time of completion on a permanent fix to the problem.
The county has been sending residents daily emails updating them on repairs and other details, according to Gill, but there is still no hard and fast date on when they'll be allowed to go back home.
We won't have a timetable until after we get the results back from KCI. We do know that it's probably going to be a long-term approach just to be able to, if it's to build some type of retaining wall, that's something that's not going to be done in a week or two.
A county spokesman tells us that residents receive daily updates on the status of the repairs. They are also working on scheduling a second meeting at the Resource Center in Harmony Hall to address their concerns. Sending your child to a study abroad makes every parent nervous, but finding out that your child was robbed at gunpoint in another country is every parent's worst nightmare. Yesterday morning, 30 students and 6 faculty members from Stevenson University in Maryland studying abroad in Pretoria, South Africa, were robbed at gunpoint on a tour bus by motorcyclists.
And it's an email from Stevenson, and of course I read the email. And it said that the students were robbed by motorcyclists on their study abroad program in South Africa. And of course I heard it, and all I could say was no. Like, how on earth could something like that happen? And I've heard nothing but good things about the study abroad program. In the email it said they've been to South Africa, plenty of times. But this one time, this happened, and I can only pray and hope for the best for those students. I can only imagine being in a different country and having my personal belongings stolen and wanting to go home, but you can't necessarily go home right then and there.
Luckily, officials say no one was injured in the incident, but some students had their cell phones, wallets, cameras, and passports stolen. A trial begins today for an inmate charged with selling drugs inside the Department of Corrections. Mahdi Lawson is being charged with smuggling drugs into the prison with the help of a former Department of Corrections officer, Rashad Jones. Jones was convicted for his involvement in the crime and will serve 3 years in prison with 5 years probation. The trial for Lawson is expected to end on Wednesday. A big endorsement today for gubernatorial hopeful Anthony Brown. Former Governor Parris Glendening has given him the nod to the ticket Brown and Ullman as a 3 toward Edmonston's Green Street project, along with Mayor Tracy Gant. Glendening praised Brown Ulmer for their concern about the environment.
O'Malley Brown team has had bold leadership in this entire environmental area to the part that we retain our position of being a model for the entire country. People look to us here to see what can be done, what the next directions are.
Today's announcement comes on the heels of yesterday's endorsement by the Washington Post. Senator Ben Cardin says he has a tip for legislative colleagues: raise the federal minimum wage for all workers, including those who depend on tips. Cardin stopped by Tasty Diner in Silver Spring, where he sat down and chatted with workers, most of whom depend on tips. Cardin, who is co-sponsor of a minimum wage bill, is pushing for the $10.10 per hour figure supported by the president.
We're underscoring the importance of raising the minimum wage, raising the tip wage, recognizing that we are talking about working families. The average age of a person on minimum wage is 35. These are not our teenagers. These are families. These are people trying to support a family. Many times they're women, many times with children.
I would have less stress. I can pay everything on time. I don't have to struggle or get a second job, summertime job. I can be in school whole summer, graduate earlier.
Cardin's measure would raise the tipped minimum wage for workers 70% of the federal minimum wage. You are watching CTV News. I'm Denise Douglas.